most of the products that I've worked on that have turned into something that made money, I've done something, like I've had to figure out a way to do something myself, or I've helped someone do something and then I've like productized it slowly. And so I think if you're coming in almost from the opposite angle of like, okay, I have this product, like let's try and get people to use it, the more you can just do that work for them yourself to figure out what the product should be.
I like rom-coms that stray outside, like play with the definition of what is a rom-com, that don't fall into all of the classic tropes, but like, you know, play with the tropes a little bit. So I think that's part of it. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think a lot of the story is about her and like focuses on her and like her having to overcome these like notions about her because of her family's background and like having to navigate this like mega rich society. And a lot of it is also just like fun gawking at like ultra rich lifestyles. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey man, how's it going? It's been a while.
It has. Astute listeners might notice that you are not Sean Sun, founder of Miscreants. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, my name is Louis. I am the co-founder of SparkLoop. I'm a huge rom-com enthusiast, which I think we're going to get to later. And
yeah.
I guess I'm probably more of like a reformed indie hacker. People might know me from that, but more likely nowadays, if you're a newsletter nerd in the newsletter space, you probably have come across SparkLoop or maybe seen me online or something like that.
Reformed. Does that mean you don't identify as an indie hacker anymore?
Oh, no, I do. I just don't hang out in as much in like the indie hack sort of bootstrapped founder space anymore. My Twitter and LinkedIn have been taken over by self-interested business interests of talking about newsletters, which is a lot more lucrative.
Yeah. So, okay, how long ago now did you sell SparkLoop? How long has it been?
We sold just over 2 years ago. We were bought by then ConvertKit, now Kit, which I think did we talk about this shortly before or shortly? I mean, we met shortly after, actually, I think.
I think both. I think you and I met in New York. I was working for Grey Noise at the time, and you told me, I don't remember if you actually told me it was ConvertKit. I think you told me you were like considering an acquisition and that there was some stuff in the works. And then I think we hung out again last year sometime after you'd sold to ConvertKit, when I was like starting to, because like last December, you and I were actually talking about like maybe collabing on some stuff.
Yeah.
I quoted you some ridiculously high number to do something. I don't even remember what exactly. Like, I think some of the like personal brand stuff that you've started doing. I was going to help with some of that maybe, and then I think I probably talked to you to just like ask you for some startup advice at some point, which I'm now doing again under the guise of having you on as a podcast guest.
It's the best way to do it. I remember I think the last time we properly talked was actually not about this startup at all. It was about the in-email charts thing. I think was the last time we had like a proper long conversation.
Yeah, good memory. I'm impressed that you remember what it even was. That was ChartJuice. I think at the time it was probably ChartKit. And then I had a co-founder. He left, and he owned the domain, so I bought ChartJuice.com and then built it. Probably shouldn't have ever built it. Like, I don't think it was like ever really a great market. But I did the classic indie hacker thing where I was like, I kind of just want to build something, and I wanted to learn to code again. And ChartJuice felt very like not intimidating. It felt easy to build. And so I spent a few months building it, launched it to crickets, and then was like, all right, I need to actually build something that I think people will buy now. And so
always a good idea. I wish you had, with a name like ChartJuice, it wasn't called ChartJuice at the time. But a name like ChartJuice, that deserves to be a podcast growth agency. There should be a podcast growth agency called ChartJuice out there.
Honestly, that is so true. Someone has like it's it's a productized service that will submit your startup to a bunch of directories, and it's called like Submit Juice or something like that.
Oh, I don't like that one so
No.
much. Go be careful with Juice.
Yeah, you do got to be careful with Juice. Yeah, honestly, podcast growth agency makes a ton of sense. I love that. I still have the site up. Like, I have like sort of pipe dreams of, spinning it out into a little like plugin for Webflow, or maybe a Kit app or something someday. But yeah, I have like a recurring. I have like I use Todoist, and so there is a to do in Todoist that to like revamp ChartJuice, and I just keep punting it out like 2 months every time it comes up, because I'm like, this is not the best use of my time right now.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I know that feeling.
So what has happened in the last like year? What's life like at SparkLoop? Last we talked, you were pretty happy with the acquisition. Like, things were going pretty well, and you all were really running independently, for the most part, under Kit. I imagine helping them build their kind of internal network, and powering that, I would imagine. But then like really just sort of focus, still running the business as the business is what I remember.
Yeah, spot on. It's been a very unusual acquisition, I would say, in that we have kept running separately from Kit for the most part. We do work with them very closely behind the scenes on like overlapping tech that we have. Like, we power their paid recommendations network. They're a much bigger company than we are, of course. But we actually we function as a separate company that's owned by Kit. We have the same team, a bit bigger now. I think we're 14 people at the moment, so still small, but like a real team. Like, when we do a team retreat, we all can't fit into the same van. We need to to order the special big van that takes us to places, which is fun. Things are going well.
I think last we talked, you were hiring a bunch of people. You were hiring like 5 or 6 people at a time. So it sounds like you got to kind of a steady state where you were like, okay, we grew a bunch. Are you still like trying to add people really fast, or have you kind of like steadied out a little bit and you're like, we're at a good size, we can like rock with this for a little while?
Yeah, no, I think we're pretty happy with where we are. We've added 2 people this year. I think there's potential to add maybe a couple more this year, but they're going to be in like expanding the same role to like 2 or 3 people as capacity requires. So like on sales, for example, or customer support or something like that. Yeah, no, I think we're about where we should be, but that could all change. We do have some stuff that I can't really talk about today, but we have some product stuff coming in like the next few months, and then who knows? So maybe we'll need to hire a bunch more for that. But it's honestly, it's pretty like the product we have now, we've been doing for just over 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's pretty steady, and we know what we're doing, and we know it's a very small like niche in the internet, right? Newsletters. So we know what we're doing, and we're just, I think, just enjoying it and just trying to like incrementally improve rather than necessarily like bring out like whole new products and have things be completely crazy.
Super cool. I feel like for a while, I remember you all had, so the recommendation engine, like recommendation platform, felt like a big inflection point for you all. Like, that felt like it really like leveled up how like your growth. But I remember seeing for a while that like the homepage of SparkLoop was still the original feature set, was like the focus of like build like kind of referral pages that encourage people to like sign up and get rewards, sort of thing. Just curious, because I just jumped to your website and saw that you are now focused on like recommendations, and I guess like the two were always related. They're both ways to like grow and recommend. But yeah, like, when did you all make that switch? And like, I imagine it happened a while ago now, but then I probably missed it.
Yeah, it's honestly, there are still parts of the site where you would think that we were still referral first. I guess it kind of shows how much we as a company care about like that kind of marketing. It's not really been a big thing for us. We're more sales led and word of mouth led rather than.
Okay, so that's what it was.
Yeah.
It just like wasn't worth it to spend a bunch of time revamping the website.
I wouldn't say that. I would say it was more so we were all in on referrals, like the referral product that we had for 2 years, the first 2 years of SparkLoop. And then
Yeah.
after 2 years, we started bringing out this recommendations product. And
Mhm.
at the time, like obviously our revenue was 100% from referrals. That's what
Okay.
people knew us for. We had just after 2 years, finally, like the big media companies, like referrals had filtered through to them and we were just becoming a thing.
Cool.
So what we found was we could get people in through the door for referrals and go, hey, so it's great that you found out about this after all this time. We've actually invented something else that works a lot better. And the people who, like, you were excited to use referrals because of the hustle 3 years
Mhm.
ago. Well, what the hustle is using today is this new thing that we've invented. So you should try that out. And so it actually worked pretty well marketing wise for us because people knew us and our reputation for referrals. We could get them through the door for a conversation that they weren't ready to have about recommendations because they had no idea what that was.
Yeah.
But then we could talk to them about that and say, hey, there's this thing. It's easier. It's less risky. It is better for you and it makes us more money, blah, 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 blah. We should go and try this as well or instead. So it took us a while and it took us until I think it didn't actually take us very long to eclipse the referral revenue with the recommendations revenue. I think it took us maybe 4 or 5 months from launching that for it to become more than 50% of our monthly revenue. And
Right.
I think maybe 2 or 3 months after that, we finally had time to switch it out. But it was a crazy couple of months because we were like closing the acquisition at the same time
Yeah.
and hiring a bunch of people. And it was a completely new product that we didn't have any support or anything for. So yeah, it was, but it was just laziness, to be honest, like low priority.
Yeah, I mean, I went through a much smaller, simpler acquisition because yeah, we had like very minimal due diligence and everything, and I remember just how much it like ate up my mind share. And so I can only imagine yeah, going through a proper acquisition with due diligence and everything and like trying to revamp your positioning. I have always found it really interesting. I feel like you're one of the few bootstrap startups that I can point to that really, um, really like managed to invent something totally new and make that work. Like not just go into an existing product category and like slightly tweak that category, but it really felt like you guys like kind of created a new like kind of category creation. Like recommendations platform was not a thing. This like recommendation sort of system wasn't really a thing in newsletters before you all, I don't think, was it?
No, it wasn't. On the free recommendation side, we came out with ours at roughly the same time as Substack.
Okay.
I don't think of it as inventing it. Like it felt very obvious to me. Before SparkLoop, I'd actually spent 6 months with 2 friends building basically the same recommendations thing, but
Huh.
for sort of premium D2C brands. Like back then, we didn't even have like the name D2C, it was just like e-commerce brand, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that worked super well, where it was like, you go and buy a candle for $50.
hmm
We are going to show you, we're going to give you a coupon for a pair of expensive cashmere socks, right?
hmm
From a brand. And
Yeah.
they would do these trades and we would make a percentage of the sale. We
Interesting.
done it as a percentage of a sale. We should have just done it as a lead,
Yeah.
but we didn't know any better. We did it as a percentage of sale. And it was working really well. We got that to over 10K a month in revenue in like 3 months from
Was
like,
that the venture backed thing that you worked on?
no. That was ages ago. That was
Okay.
the,
Okay.
it was called Post Perk.
Yeah.
And we didn't know each other, all 3 of us as a team, and we just completely sort of like disintegrated. One of us, our main job, they got acquired and they like got rich and didn't have to do it. The other one wanted
Wild.
to work on something more technical. I was not super like into the D2C space, so I didn't really want to keep doing it. And it kind of fell apart just because no one really cared about it enough. But the idea
Yeah.
was really good. So
Yeah.
when I came into SparkLoop, the referral program, which like we didn't invent referral programs, we were just the first
Yeah.
ones who made it easy to do for
Yeah.
newsletters. I like the first thing I looked at was like, why is nobody doing recommendations?
Interesting.
And I was kind of new to the newsletter space. So I was like, oh, well, there's going to be a reason. I just don't know the reason yet, right? Like I'm not going to go in and tell them how to do things.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to like discover why it didn't work and like who tried it. And it just turned out that like nobody had really like had the authority to like claim that this might be a good idea.
Yeah.
And so when we were at that point of like, okay, people trust us enough, we have enough newsletters on the platform for the SaaS product. Like, why would we not do this? And it worked fine.
So this is kind of what I wanted to ask. Like, do you think it would have worked without the referral product? Like, do you think you needed that like customer base and like kind of critical mass in order to get the recommendation? Because the recommendation platform is like kind of a two-sided marketplace, right? Which like usually is again, so it's like kind of category, almost like business model creation, and it's a two-sided marketplace. Like it kind of goes against all of like the bootstrapped best practices. And it worked. And like, do you think the like referral product being like an easy to understand, like established thing to get you in the door was necessary, or do you think it could have worked without that?
I think it could absolutely have worked without that. I think to do a marketplace, I think you need some kind of unfair advantage, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't have absolutely any in that space when we started. So having the referral product and having those customer connections and their trust and all of the users already in the platform, that definitely became the unfair advantage that allowed us to do this without having to spend years and years and years trying to do it. But yeah, absolutely. Like if I had spent a year working at one of the really big newsletter success stories and then came out of that and said, hey, everybody should be doing this.
Or if you'd had
that
a
would have
big
worked.
audience of like newsletter writers already or something like that, you just needed something to get over that. Like,
or if I was willing to spend $1 million and say, hey, everyone who signs up gets $100 guaranteed. Absolutely. Other people could have absolutely done this and probably could have done it faster than we did. I guess you never know because when you're the first ones doing it, you make all the mistakes that people don't have to do the second time around. But But I think even now, like especially with like AI and how that's going to make just like generic SaaS probably a lot more difficult to charge for, and you're going to have a lot more features and do a lot more for the money, and getting visibility is going to be harder. I think most products probably need some sort of like marketplace or network, or they need some sort of value that comes from the other users rather than just from the actual lines of code. Some kind of network effect. And
interesting.
That I think people can do it from scratch. No? Okay.
I don't know if I agree with that. Yeah, like I feel like maybe it's a little bit of an aversion of like running a dev shop during like the peak social media era where everyone was like obsessed with network effects and like all anyone wanted was to figure out how to build the next social network. And I was like, guys, can we stop this? So maybe there's just like some bias there and like aversion to the idea. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Network effects are like an amazing thing to have if you can find a natural way to integrate them into your product. Like it's just such a fucking moat. Like look at Elon Musk cannot kill Twitter no matter how hard he tries right now because like the network effects are too strong. Like I don't know about like we DM'd over Twitter to set this up and like I tried to quit it for a while and I'm back because like my friends are there and I can't stay away.
I mean, there are probably some exceptions. Like, I think if you have, like, ConvertKit actually is a pretty good example of this, where you could literally with one prompt build most of the core functionality of ConvertKit, but the deliverability would be terrible. The emails would spam. I'm like, that's kind of their moat in a sense, at least like, or like that's email companies like ConvertKit's moat.
Yeah. And more they're building a brand moat as well. I feel like in the space, I don't know if you agree with that or not, but it feels like there's an intentional push there.
I think so. I think as those tools become more and more similar and you get more and more, increasingly you go with the one that you like and that you identify with, right? I think that definitely is true. I think data is the other big thing, right? Like network effect doesn't have to necessarily be connecting you with other users, but you have to be, if you're ConvertKit, for example, like you have all the data on when to send emails, what kind of emails to send, what subscribers are interested in and clicking on, what they're buying, which creators should be working together. There is a lot that you can do where you can say, hey, even if somebody could go and build this platform in 3 months and give them all the same functionality and offer it for 1/10 of the price.
Yeah.
Because we have all of these users and all of this data going back years, we can add enough incremental value for people who are important that they're going to be happy to pay more for what we have right now. I do think that's something that if you look at like,
Yeah.
where do you host the podcast?
We host it on Transistor.
You're on Transistor, okay. So they're trying really hard to figure out some kind of network effect, right? Because they're going to have the same thing. Like soon, I think podcast hosting is probably going to go to zero cost. Or it already is in a lot of cases, but it's going to go more and more that way, right?
Yeah, I'm
I
a little skeptical again. Like, I feel like in general, like people talk about like SaaS dying out because of vibe coding and like everyone's going to be able to like one prompt, one shot at, most of the functionality. But I think like with Transistor, like with Kit, most of the challenge in Transistor is the like DevOps side of like maintaining the infrastructure and stuff. And like that stuff is so tedious and awful to do that maybe we get agentic systems that can do it for you and like it becomes not awful. I don't know. But and then too, I think like distribution's always the hard part, which I guess goes back to your like kind of network effects, like kind of help create distribution a little bit. I do also think that like, as we're riding out this wave of like what the hell's happening with SEO, like the smart people I know are talking about the value of data in marketing too. Like unique data sets are how you like kind of cut through the noise in marketing because you like produce something that like an LLM can't produce without it. So yeah, I think I like agree and disagree with some of this.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't know exactly where we're going to go with all this, but I do think that having that data is going to become more and more valuable, partly because everything else becomes less defensible.
Yeah.
Even if there is some defense, there's less defense, I think.
Yeah.
And because we're now getting to a place where with AI or AI assisted, you can actually start to do interesting stuff with that data that you couldn't necessarily do before.
I wonder if some of this is
more
also just like the stages we're at. Like I'm at a stage where I'm like, I just got to get someone to give a fuck long enough to like try my product. And like, I can't think about network effects and like data moats and shit right now. I just need someone to like try my product. Whereas you're living in like, I have a successful product and I need to figure out how to defend it and like keep it going land. I don't know if there's any of that going on or if this is something you've thought about from day one.
No, it's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of like thinking about what my next product would be, and like would I go into a SaaS again? And like I definitely wouldn't go into
really.
I wouldn't do like a straight up paid SaaS. I don't think.
Interesting. Okay, why not? Tell me, is it just for the reasons we've been talking about? You feel like it's just going to become too easy to replicate the functionality? There's not enough moat there?
I think partly it's just probably that I just don't have a really, really good idea. Right? Maybe I could be just super convinced if I was like super into it and knew exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I think a big part of it is not really like the long-term defensibility. It's just when we started SparkLoop a bit more than 5 years ago, we were like the best people around at the time in SaaS had maybe 10 years, but most companies had 4 or 5 years to build out their feature sets. On average, they're now at like 9 years of building out feature sets, right? So someone I'm competing with now has had twice as much time to compete, like to get better than me as someone, as like when I first started SparkLoop, right? Like I'm now like I'm a 5-year-old who is fighting against a 15-year-old versus a 5-year-old who's trying to like fight against a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me a little bit.
Hasn't the market always kind of gone through these like bundling and unbundling cycles, and like you kind of had to like find a wedge? Like there were always going to be people with like way more functionality than you, and you had to like figure out like, okay, what's our wedge? What can we do differently that's better? And then like land and expand, like start there and then grow until we become the bundled thing that is slow and crusty, and then someone comes in and replaces us. Like, yeah, I guess I've always looked at it as cyclical.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm thinking about it more now as like people. I've definitely seen I don't know if you've seen this. I've definitely feel like I've seen a change in B2B buyer mentality from like, oh, cool, another exciting tool, to even now when there's like a genuinely exciting tool, it's like, oh, not another tool that I'm gonna have to log into and use. Like, can I just pay you to do this for me? And I
Yeah.
feel like that is
No,
the
that's
big
real.
unlock with AI. Is like, the next thing I would do would probably be like a productized service, but like basically I build the SaaS and I'm the only one who gets to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard some people talk about that. As someone who built a service business for a long time, you've also built a service business before. So, but like, I'm like, I don't want to build another service business. um, uh,
Yeah.
but I also have never built a truly productized service. I was always doing custom services. So it was always super hard to
Yeah.
like
I mean, yours, you were delivering output, but not necessarily like you
outcomes.
weren't delivering outcomes, right?
Yeah,
And I think if you
100%.
have one where you're just on the hook for delivering the outcomes and you can take a percentage of that, I think that
You got to
at least
divorce
in the short
yourself
term,
from
yeah,
time. Like that's the thing that SaaS enables us to do that we all want is like I want to be able to make good money while not having to like not having to worry about like, oh, if I take 2 weeks off, it's like my income dips or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what a productized service like with software powering it does enable you to do.
Hmm.
You pay like it's okay. This would take you 100 hours to do.
Hmm.
You don't know if it's going to take me 5 hours or 20 hours,
Hmm.
but I can charge you for 50 hours because it would take you 100 hours, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think there's likes there. But anyway, I think last I was listening to this podcast in preparation. I think you said you're at 3, 4 customers. No, I'm
Yeah.
blanking on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm doing exactly what you would not do. I'm trying to build a SaaS business,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so we're at we just had a customer convert today. They didn't cancel their trial. They're not using the product as much as I would like, so that makes me nervous. But and then we've got another one who I think is going to convert. So I think we're going to be at like about 5, with
Nice.
like a mix of usage, like not incredible usage. Definitely have some people paying just because they like me, which is like great and touching, and I love it. But like not a business, not like a repeatable way to grow a business. Um,
Yeah.
so
Oh, I'm going to disagree there, Rob. I think it's a very repeatable way to grow a business. It's a
uh-huh.
terrible way to start a business because in the early days you need a complete stranger to actually like desperately need this so much they put up with all the nonsense and talk to you and get through it.
Yeah.
But I think once you have something that you're sure works,
Hmm.
just being the provider that people like is actually a really good way to do it. I mean, a lot of Transistor FM was kind of
Oh, it's
in the early days,
100%
at
like
least, just Justin, right?
yeah.
Um,
It's like I like Justin, and like I don't really give a fuck about podcast hosting. So as long as you make it relatively easy and you're Justin Jackson, like yeah, I'm gonna pick you.
yeah. Was the Chris? Do you know Chris Lehmer? He has a
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good, yeah, it's a really good quote, which is something like, uh, "All things equal, people prefer to buy from friends. So make
Uh-huh.
all things equal, then make a lot of friends." I really like that
I
quote.
love that, man. That's kind of how I always like treated Crit, like growing the
Mhm.
agency. Was I was like, I'm not great at marketing or demand gen, but I'm good at making friends. So I'm just gonna try to like build like have like solid positioning and like a good argument for like why we're you know who we're a good fit for, and then I'm just gonna try to make a bunch of friends and then hope that those people will eventually tell someone about us. um, and it got us to like 1 million in annual revenue. So um, not
Yeah.
super profitably, but it was kind of lumpy revenue. But
Lumpy revenue. That's a good one. That should be a t-shirt. Yeah. So you're struggling. Well, not struggling, but like you're up at 5. You said some people aren't using it necessarily as much as you would like. Is it the
yeah,
kind of product where you have like a magic moment, an aha moment where people get some sort of result or some sort of output and they go, oh, this is like, I'm hooked, I'm in now? Or is it more of like a habit forming thing where they have to keep coming back and using it and you just have to get them to use it rather than to see initial value and be in?
good question. Transparently, I don't know yet. I my hunch would be it's probably going to be more of a habit forming thing where it's going to take some time to like get people in and like get them coming back. So the product, it's called MetaMonster. It is, and this is part of the problem, is I'm still struggling to figure out how to position it, and partially because like I kind of think we don't fit into an existing category, and so we're gonna like it terrifies me, but like we're maybe gonna play in a new category that's like I don't think we're creating it, but I think it's kind of emerging because of changes in AI and like how people are working with AI. So I would describe it as like an SEO automation platform. So it uses AI to automate parts of an SEO analyst's like workflow and SEO manager's workflow. And you know, we started our like kind of initial MVP was like, let's just build like a tool that can crawl a website and then with a single button click generate page titles and meta descriptions. And what we heard from people was like, this is cool. Like, I think there's something here. We got, our first 1 or 2 customers, but we were really struggling to get anyone to give a shit. Like, we had someone like sign up and use it and then like churn right away, and like had a bunch of people who were like, does it do this? Does it do that? It's not really enough. And this kind of jived with what we were feeling. Like we always felt like that was just a starting point. And then at the same time, we were also just like, it was our first time building a product with like AI as a core part of the value prop. And we just felt like we were kind of like handicapping the AI by hiding it away behind this button. Cause it's like the power of LLMs is their flexibility. Like they're not accurate. They're not fast. The thing they're great at is being flexible and adaptable. And we were just taking all of that away and being like, the AI can now do this one thing when you push a button. And that makes it super easy to use, but it also just like takes all of the power out. And we started talking, and we read this great article from like one of the new Y Combinator guys talking about like AI horseless carriages, and just making this argument that you like need to expose the prompt to the users, because that's the magic. And so we've been doing the work to basically like refactor the product so you can still sign up and use it to generate meta descriptions. But like the stuff that I'm really excited about is essentially a set of tools that SEOs can use to work with AI. And so that means like we crawl your site, we generate vector embeddings so that even if your site is too big to just like shove into a single LLM call, you can still like run prompts and queries against it. And then we give you a spreadsheet like interface, and a bunch of like SEO specific prompt templates so that you can quickly start like doing tasks and then either customize those, write your own, expand from there. And now I think we're building something that will be useful and valuable. Obviously, there's questions about like, are people going to want to work this way, or are they just going to want to use like ChatGPT and an MCP server that connects to like Google Sheets? I don't know, but like I think that
are people already doing that?
So this is the cool thing. SEOs, like there are a lot of people who are being slow to adopt AI. SEOs are not. SEOs are adopting AI really fast, and they have been for the last year or longer. So like most of the SEOs I talk to are at a minimum using ChatGPT to generate page titles and meta descriptions, to like ask questions and like generate ideas of like, what should I fix here? What should I improve next on this page? Like, and then like doing a bunch of copying and pasting between spreadsheets. Some of them are also like taking the time to try to set up. There's a cool tool called GPT for Sheets that lets you like run prompts inside of Google Sheets. And so some of them are starting to like set up tooling in that. But the feedback I've been getting is like the quality's kind of shit.
The quality of
the output of like like someone, I just talked to someone who has spent some time setting up a sheet with GPT for Sheets that will generate titles and descriptions, and she's like, they're terrible. We can't use them. And then there's like on the other end of the spectrum, there's this tool called AirOps that is gaining a lot of traction in the SEO space that is like really complex workflow builder with like knowledge bases, sales led growth motion, selling to more like enterprise companies, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, you know, uh, you know, helping you do like really complex SEO workflows. Um, and so like I'm seeing user behavior in the space. And then my current hypothesis is let's fill the gap between like GPT for Sheets and AirOps.
Got
But
it.
yeah, it's definitely like an emerging market, an emerging product category, and like may cease to be a category at all. It may just get absorbed into other tools. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I mean, was always surprising to me about using like ChatGPT and AI for this kind of stuff is it is all about the prompt, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
quality of the prompt is the quality of the output,
Yep.
and having
And
to
like
invent that all.
context in general, like being able to
Mhm.
pull in context, which is essentially just like feeding the prompt. But I think that like for a lot of people, like they think prompt and they think the instructions, but a really important part of getting a better prompt is like shoving a bunch of context into that prompt as well.
Yeah, and your own context, but also if you can provide context from others or just like best practice context and stuff like that is
Data
super useful.
sources, like other data,
Yeah,
like corroborating data, sort of. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people talk to it in the same way they would. Like something we have on our team a lot is people who are just starting to adopt AI now. And weirdly, not weirdly, actually, unsurprisingly, it's the growth team that we have who
Uh huh.
are less used to having to figure out how to tell a computer to do what they want and get the right answer, right? Like the product team gets that pretty quickly. The growth side is like they just assume contextual knowledge of SparkLoop or of our customers or of like what they're saying that obviously ChatGPT cannot have.
Yeah.
And then they're surprised by the quality, like the lack of quality of the answer. And it's like, yeah, well, if you went to a random smart person in the street and said, hey, here, can you go and do this? But you don't tell them anything about SparkLoop or anything like that. They don't know anything about newsletters. Then, of course, the answer you're going to get is going to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah. So like the first thing that I think we were doing, like the first level up in quality, was just like scraping the site, and so that you can easily feed the page content into the prompt. Because like and then also we've spent a bunch of time testing our prompts to try to make them good. So yeah, like I think a lot of the value here is like the prompt library we're developing, and that's like maybe where a network effect can come in for us, is if we can like enable people to share prompts and stuff eventually. Like maybe we can build it's a light network effect, it's not a super strong one, but like maybe there's a little
Is
something there.
is SEO stuff heavily agencyed? Like to people,
Yeah.
does your ideal customer do this in house, or are you selling to an agency that will do this with people?
Our current hypothesis is that we want to go after agencies, because there are in-house SEO people and there are agencies. Agencies to me have like they're experiencing the problems on a much faster like loop. So
Hmm.
they're having to do the same things over and over again, whereas
Yeah.
an in-house person might move from like one stage of the like they might not do a certain stage of the process like for a year or two, or they might be doing it at such a small scale that it's like still not that hard to do manually. Like, there aren't
Are
many
they
people cranking out so much content that they can't write titles and descriptions for that content. Like, they might not like doing it, but they can do it.
Yeah. So is this something that they'll upsell as like an extra and a bonus and something on top, or is this saving them time internally?
I think it's going to be a cost, unfortunately. And well, okay. Um, So I think it's something that they'll use internally. I think it'll be an internal agency tool rather than something they sell. I've had like one or two people say like, "Oh, I'd actually be interested in recommending this to the people who are like not ready to work with me yet, as like use this to get started." Like kind of like
Hmm.
Yoast. You might recommend Yoast
Yeah.
or something. Um, and then interestingly, like one of the friends I talked to who runs a web design agency, so they do SEO often for clients, but they're not like an SEO agency. His immediate thing was like, okay, the meta description stuff is interesting, and like, yeah, that would save me time, but like it's not that valuable I would maybe pay on like a usage base for it, but I'm not going to pay $50 a month for it. But, and again, you always got to take this stuff with a grain of salt. But if I can start to like generate content ideas or something, like basically if I can use this, I'm not going to upsell this, but if I can use this to help me upsell the client on additional services, or empower those services, then like that's valuable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like, is there a different group of people who are going to look at like, I mean, this is more of like a personal preference, but I really hate working on anything where people don't know if they want to spend $50 a month on it. Like,
That's fair.
I just
Yeah.
I struggle with the motivation. Like, if I'm like, okay, so you're my ideal customer, and like with all the excitement that I can like get and all the motivation I can get out of you, like you still don't think this is worth 2 coffees a week?
Yeah.
Like,
So
yeah, I struggle with that.
there have been plenty of SEOs we've talked to who have been very price insensitive. There are plenty of SEOs we talk to who are very price sensitive. And so I'm still sorting out like, how do we tell who's who? I don't know the answer to that yet. But like the person I talked to who's messing around with GPT for sheets, she was like, yeah, $50 a month is nothing. She was telling me about another like AI SEO tool she just signed up for. And I was like, how much did it cost? And she's like, I don't even remember. I didn't really care. Or like, did you put a credit card in first? And she was like, yeah, yeah. So she seemed very like chill about,
$50 a month is in that category of like, you either want it or you don't.
yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's 50 or 5, really.
Yeah. And I have, for that reason, I have been really hesitant to reduce the pricing at all. I think that there's like, maybe we'd get a couple more people if we had like a cheaper tier. This is also part of why I'm struggling with this positioning problem. We were initially trying to position ourselves against web crawlers, like Screaming Frog, Sitebulb. I don't know if you're familiar with these.
Yeah.
And like the general impression I got was that like people just look at those as cheap. They expect them to be cheap. Screaming Frog, like, yes, it can get expensive if you're buying licenses for a bunch of people, but like people still think of it as costing $20 a month. And like Ahrefs gives you their like basic crawling for free. And like Sitebulb is like $200 a month for their cloud offering, but that gets you like 2 million URLs crawled or something insane. And so like relatively it's dirt cheap. And so I think that is part of why I'm also trying to position this more around like automation and like workflow sort of stuff and creation, and less around like the crawling and analysis a little bit.
Got it. What's your like when you think of like urgency or like timeline, where do you need to be with this? Like, where does this need to go to for you? What do you need to see in the next few months to like want to continue this?
That's a great question. The urgency isn't super high. My partner and I are both bootstrapped. We're not working on this full time. I'm consulting part time. He's still working a full time job. And so like there's no like runway problem really. But I don't want to, throw good money after bad, right? Like, so I think what it comes down to is I want to start, this rebuild has been a pretty big shift, and like, we've taken a couple months to build a bunch of new features. And this is going to make the tool a lot more flexible, a lot more powerful, able to do a lot more very quickly. And so I think what I want to see is like, it doesn't need to be like, oh, I've got that magical growth hockey stick, but I want to see like the message resonating with people. And I want to see that like when I find the right person, they're willing to sign up and give it a good earnest try. And like, and if I'm still not seeing that, that's a concern to me. Like this person, Jade, who I talked to, she seems like the perfect fit. And I've been trying to get her to sign up and try it, and she hasn't yet. And to be fair, like I told her, like, hey, these new features are in development; they're not coming out. Like I wasn't like, here, it's ready, go use it.
What does it mean to try it? Like what do you have to input as a user? How much work is it?
You have to input a URL to crawl a site, and then you have to select a prompt template and run that prompt template. So the prompt templates are called like, generate titles or something, and then you've got to like open that up and click run, and that's technically all you need to do. But obviously, like that's not all it is in a user's mind. Like I think, and you have to put a credit card down. We don't have, that's like a big one. We did not do a no credit card free trial. We did a credit card required free trial to try to introduce friction, actually.
Got it. Okay, but so then to actually get the results, and then are those, do you plug into like WordPress or something to update the stuff, or do they have to then copy paste it or like upload a CSV file or something?
Great point. For the original like page titles and meta descriptions, we did build a WordPress plugin so you could integrate with WordPress. So like Jade told me she was waiting for like a WordPress client to try that out. That was like one of the things for her. Yeah, good point. For the new stuff, we don't have a way to integrate it with your CMS yet, because like the flexibility makes that a lot trickier to figure out to do, like because you can generate kind of anything. So it'll probably be like CSV export and then like manually uploading it to your CMS, which is how people are mostly doing things today. But it is still, that's a lot of work, for sure. And then also I think there's just like, I've heard some anxiety expressed, like kind of to your point, like one person was just like, as soon as they found out that there was a credit card required, they were like, too much work. Like I've got enough tools. And like, I think there is a little bit of like, just, I got to learn something new.
Got it. Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing it as a managed service?
Yeah. So I've been trying to figure out exactly what that managed service is. Like, do SEOs give us do they give us a spreadsheet or a site that they want us to optimize, and we give them back a CSV? Like, are we is it like one thought is like, maybe it's actually like an AI automation service. It's like, hey, like tell me what you're trying to automate with AI, and I'll use MetaMonster for it. Maybe I'll use N8N. Maybe I'll build something custom, like whatever. And that would be a little bit more exploratory, not like, is this product valuable, but like where are people trying to solve things? Like what problems are people trying to solve? With the page titles and meta descriptions, again, it just kind of felt like no one was going to pay for like just generate a bunch of page titles and meta descriptions for me one off.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they will people pay for you to actually do the work of uploading and having it fixed?
Possibly. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. I think I need to try that again. You suggest, it's been on my mind for a long time, and then Alex from Stacking the Bricks also was like pushing me to do that, and so I think it is a good call. I probably should try to test that again, to see where the sticking points are.
I think it's a really useful thing if you're in those early days. Most of the products that I've worked on that have turned into something that made money, at least on the B2B side, like where it's theoretically a logical decision, like it's a revenue making thing. They've mainly been situations where I've done something, or like I've had to figure out a way to do something myself. or I've helped someone do something and then I've like productized it slowly. And so I think if you're coming in almost from the opposite angle of like, okay, I have this product, like let's try and get people to use it, the more you can just do that work for them yourself to figure out what the product should be, I think the easier it will be for you to arrive at like what the right feature set is and like how to pitch it and how to confidently talk about the value of it and who should be using it and how.
Yeah. Love that. Cool. Yeah, that's super interesting. I think I will do some work on that. I'm testing some different outbound messaging right now to try to test some different positioning ideas. And so immediate thought is like, cool, let's spin up a landing page for a productized service. Include this as another outbound variant to test. Maybe run some paid ads towards it, and then try to talk about it a little bit in my network and see if anyone bites.
Yeah, I mean, I think with that kind of thing, sometimes it's easier to go with people who already know and trust you, because for me, there's always like, I always hate if you don't like, you failed, but you don't know why you failed, right? And is it like, is it that I couldn't pitch the thing, or is it I couldn't pitch the thing correctly, or is it that the thing actually wasn't worth anything in the first place to them? Like, where am I failing here? So I would, if you go with a friend, you can go and do the work and you can be like, okay, I can see that this is obviously driving value for them. Now I just need to figure out how to like get more people like this to actually want to go and use it themselves.
The tough part is I don't have a ton of friends in this space. Like, we're kind of going into a space where we don't have an incredible network, which is always
what drove you into it in the first place, and how did you?
I've always been interested in SEO.
Okay.
And I've always liked content marketing. I did content marketing for our agency. And it started with, I knew internal links were important, and I could never be bothered to insert them into my content manually. And I was like, man, I wish there was something that would just do this for me. And then as Gen AI got better, I was like, oh, this is the obvious thing to do this problem, like solve this problem. And then, but I've never been an SEO, never sold SEO services, never worked in an SEO agency. So I have a few friends in the space, but not a large network. So yeah, I'll definitely try to reach out to the folks I know and give it a shot. But like with this person who I've just met, I should definitely tell her like, hey, if there's another site you want to try this on, like, I'll, pay me some amount of money and I'll, handle the upload for you. Or even like, I'll just do the whole thing for you, or
Yeah.
Cool. Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah. You want to talk about rom-coms?
All day, every day. It's pretty much my favorite thing.
Sweet, man. I thought it'd be super fun if we wrap. So this is everyone's warning. If you don't care about rom-coms, one, you suck, and I don't want to be friends with you. But two, you can bounce now. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to count down our top 5 rom-coms, and just react to each other's lists. This is the precursor for the podcast I really want to run, which is a rom-com podcast with you.
Of course.
That's my dream, is to not have to do any of this dumb SaaS bullshit and just run a rom-com podcast with you. And who cares if it gets 3 subscribers?
I think we would get many more. And I think, especially if we had like Gen AI creating we could create the prompt that would just create new rom-com plots like that. That would be that's the money maker. The rom-com's coming back.
Yeah. Have you ever, before we get into this, have you ever read rom-coms? Like, have you gotten into like the romance genre reading it all, or are you purely a movie rom-comer?
I am a movie and series, like
TV.
TV rom-commer. I would say more of a TV rom-commer than a movie rom-commer nowadays. I don't have a lot of, I don't know. I feel like I like the longer story arcs of a TV show as opposed to like the one and done movie.
Cool.
But yeah, no, I never, I like, if I read, it tends to be classics. I don't have a lot of time to read fiction, so I don't have a lot of time to read. So if I do, it tends to be like very old, depressing books from like 1850 rather
Nice.
than fun stuff. Yeah.
I feel like I exhaust the world of like television and movie rom-coms so fast, and then I still have that itch. And so I started a few years ago like reading rom-coms and like diving into like the romance subgenre. If you ever want an entertaining read, just go spend like 20 minutes on the r/romance subreddit. Hilarious jargon and like terminology and stuff, and just yeah, a bunch of people being very open about their kinks and what they're like, what kind of smut they like to read. It's super entertaining.
Sounds interesting. I haven't. I've seen some occasional, like, one of those things that always interests me is like, what are huge trends that
Yeah.
could have like news, especially if they could have like a newsletter attached to them. Like,
Yeah.
but basically, where is someone probably going to make millions of dollars from a newsletter that I know absolutely nothing about and didn't even realize was a thing?
Yeah.
And romantasy was one that kept coming up for me recently.
Absolutely.
It's like these books about like half man, half bull, sort of like love affairs and stuff. Apparently, that is an absolutely huge thing that I did not realize like half the population just loves to read. So
there's a ton of subgenres. There's like historical romance, there's romantasy, there's contemporary romance, there's like these people have like have like all of the tropes like categorized, and so you can like request your favorite trope. And which, by the way, like my personal favorite rom-coms, which I think will show up here, are the ones that kind of like bend the tropes or like play with the tropes a little bit and like get out of them.
Interesting, because I've gone for, I was trying to think, like when I was doing my list, I had like 20 and then I narrowed it down to 5, which I'm not happy with. But I was trying to do a mix of like my personal favorites that I would rewatch and ones that I think were maybe the most, like, without that, like, sort of they paved the way for other ones. Like, so now they don't necessarily hold up as like the one that I would go and watch, but like at the time they would have been like groundbreaking or revolutionary, or like would have like led the way, paved the way for the other ones.
I love it. I went fully, what do I want to watch? Like, what can I watch on repeat over and over and over again? What are my personal favorites? So that's, I said, screw the classics. I only care about what I want.
Right. So I felt like I had to throw something popular, something like renowned in there, just to give the audience what they want.
All right, so why don't we start? Tell me what didn't make your list. Give me like a few of your what are they called? Near miss. What's the word I'm looking for? Not near misses.
Yeah, near misses. I guess almost made it.
There's a word. Yeah, honorary mentions. That's the word I'm looking for.
Honorary mentions. Yeah. Okay, I can go. Even just picking which of the honorary mentions to mention is such a challenge. So I'll go with one that's obscure, or I guess kind of more obscure, which is called Celeste and Jesse Forever. Have you come across that?
I don't know this. Okay, this is what I'm really hoping for, is that I'm just going to get new recommendations from you. Okay.
Celeste and Jesse Forever. I won't give away any of the plot. It's very good.
I feel like I've seen this, but maybe I just am thinking I know who Rashida Jones and Andy Samberg are. Like,
yeah, they basically play themselves.
Love it.
There's no surprise in who they are, but it's very, very good.
Nice.
I enjoy it. It's just it's funny, it's sad, it keeps you interested. It's got everything that I want from a rom-com, which is like, I want to be a little bit sad, I want to be a little bit happy, I want to feel something, but also laugh. That's my goal.
Love it. Any other honorary mentions you want to throw out?
I'm gonna go for I'm gonna give you 3 more.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you maybe the only pure Netflix rom-com that was close to making the list, which is Holiday with Emma Roberts and some random Australian guy whose name I don't know.
Okay, love it.
It's very good. It's very like it. It's good. It's old-fashioned, just like very what's the word? Where it sort of follows like a procedural, like very
fake dating,
yeah,
friends, enemies to lovers, maybe, you know, like
exactly.
some
It has all
classic.
the tropes. It's very tropey.
Love it.
You know exactly what you're getting, but it's just brilliantly executed, and the people are very good in it. So that was my Netflix one, like my more modern one.
Okay.
Then the classic that I didn't put in the top list because I don't think it's truly a rom-com is Garden State with Zach Braff.
Yeah. I I need to go back and rewatch Garden State. I feel like I've maybe only caught bits and pieces of it. I need to go back and like rewatch it start to finish at some point.
Yeah, it's probably doesn't hold up for like other generations. For my generation, it was like very much a thing, and like
Yeah.
maybe was too much because of that, and also just because the music is so good.
Yeah.
And
We're
then
like the
yeah,
same age pretty much, right? Like plus or
I
minus a
think
year or
so.
two. Yeah, I'm
Probably, yeah, I think
about to
so.
turn 32.
Okay, yeah, I'm 33. Yeah,
Yeah, we're
yeah.
almost the same age. Yeah.
I had to think then. I thought I was 33 last year, and I went around all year really depressed that I was going to turn 34, and then I realized I was 32 and turning 33, which
I do the
was
same thing
amazing.
all the time.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Cool. And my last one is one maybe you won't have watched, which is called Harold and Maude.
I know it. I haven't watched it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is very weird. It is about a teenager who basically falls in love with a very old woman.
Uh-huh.
And I won't say anything else about it. It's just darkly funny and very weird and
I feel like this is a
ridiculous,
cult
but very good.
classic. Like I feel
Yes. Yeah.
like yeah, this very much fits a niche. All right, cool.
It's one of those ones where you will either love it or you will absolutely hate it, and you won't be able to watch all the way through.
Okay, I'm really excited because I didn't have any of those on my list at all, and so I'm hoping our lists are going to be pretty different. Yeah, very interesting. I do also know that like we have talked about rom-coms on Twitter before, and we I think have similar tastes. So
My nightmare is that I've forgotten something and you're going to remind me of it, and I'm going to realize it's not on my list, and then I'm going to be screwed.
okay.
Did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah. Okay. So the one that was gonna be on my list until I remembered another one right before our call. Four Weddings and a Funeral.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for some Hugh Grant. Sucker for some good British comedy. So that I think I watched it for the first time in like 7th grade with like my best friend, and I was just like, this is hilarious. I love this. The first rom-com that I remember like truly falling in love with was How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, which to me is like
very good,
classic, tropey, very much of an era. Like it is, you know, I feel like that was like kind of peak rom-com era when rom-coms were like coming out all the time. And that is like one of the ones that feels very iconic to me.
Yeah, that one for me, I didn't have it on my list because that one for me is like when it reached like the peak formulaic sort of like, it is a great movie. I've watched it like probably 3 or 4 times. I could easily watch it again any number of times. Like if it was on, I would sit down and watch it. But there is nothing there that like really moves me to laughter. There's nothing that really moves me to like, there's no emotion with it. It's
totally
just
understand
very
that.
clearly like, it's a great movie. It's a great watch. You can watch it, but it doesn't go overboard on the comedy or on the like the feels for me.
Yeah.
So.
For me, that one only came close to making the list because it was just like the first rom-com that I like really got obsessed with. And so
and it's very quotable as well. Like there's a lot from it that is
yeah. And so it holds a special piece of nostalgia in my heart. Okay, I've got so many I want to talk about. This is nuts. We've got to turn this into a real thing. All right, I'm gonna throw out a kind of a little bit of a zigzag here then for my third honorable mention. And this is, I'm gonna group 2 movies together, so I'm cheating here. Zombieland and Shaun of the Dead are 2 that I feel like get left off of people's lists all the time. And like Shaun of the Dead in particular, like pioneered the rom-com. And I feel like rom-coms don't get enough love. So yeah.
Interesting.
I love both of them so much.
I do love both movies. Yeah, I do. I had never thought of Shaun of the Dead as a rom-com. I guess it makes sense. Like it does have those elements. So I think we can allow it. Yeah, I love Zombieland as well. There's another one with the same. Is that Jesse Eisenberg?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another one with him that's called something else Land, like Adventureland or something like that.
Adventureland.
Is it Adventureland?
Yeah.
Which is like, I always get those two, even though they're completely different, just because it's the same people.
He's
I get
one
them
of
kind of
those
mixed up. Yeah.
He's one of those people who got kind of typecast and is just like such an iconic like actor, like that. Yeah, I get it. Like all of his movies sometimes blend together in my head because he's always himself, kind of. Yeah, even in The Social Network, I feel like he's very Jesse Eisenberg about his portrayal of Mark Zuckerberg. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can see those together. They definitely, they're different. I wouldn't normally choose them when I'm in the mood for a rom-com because there's a little bit too much like action and excitement in them for me. But
Yeah.
they're great movies.
I think they are representative of a subgenre of rom-com, which is rom-com, and it's a pretty niche subgenre. There aren't many out there.
Okay, well, if you're going there for like horror, romance, comedy,
Yeah.
then I think you have to include Cloverfield. Have you seen Cloverfield?
I have not seen Cloverfield. I'm very quickly realizing that your movie knowledge, I think, goes much deeper than mine.
I do a lot of long haul flights.
Nice.
It's a problem.
So you do have time to read, is what I'm hearing. Cool. Yeah. Okay. I've got, man, this is great. This is exactly what I was hoping for. I'm ending up with a great to watch list.
Cloverfield is a great watch. It's a good horror movie.
Yeah.
But it's also has a lot of the feels. It's a kind of similar story of like, I won't ruin what happens, but essentially like some horrible monster thing. Guy needs to find girl. Does guy find girl? Are they okay?
I think this is going to be one of those that I watch and then I'm like, oh, I have seen this like on TV when I was 14 and don't remember.
Yeah. It's one that you kind of need your full concentration for because it's most of it's filmed like as if it was shot by the people. So it's not really one to sort of half watch.
Found footage style?
Yes, exactly. And it's done well. It's not like the Blair Witch Project, but it's actually good. But it's a bit of a
fired. At a horror
my
classic.
least favorite movie of all time.
I've never seen Blair Witch. It's on my to watch list. I grew up like terrified of horror movies, so I was like never a horror fan. Like Shaun of the Dead was as close to horror as I got. And my girlfriend is a massive horror fan, so I've slowly been dipping my toes in the water. But yeah, okay,
yeah. Should we do the main list, or you got any?
No. I think if we keep going, we're going to be here for 3 hours.
Yeah. Okay, let's do the main list. Should we go reverse order?
Reverse order. Start with your number 5.
Okay, this is because I just want to change them all up now. I'm not happy with what I have here at all, but I'm going to stick with what I originally said. I'm going to come back and revise this in the future because this is all wrong.
Okay.
Number 5 is going to be my one and only class. I guess, yeah, my one and only like true classic on the list.
Okay. I'm wondering if
the classic.
Yeah. When Harry Met Sally.
Which is yes, exactly. Yeah. It's my only one. I put it in there, number 5.
Yeah,
I love it.
I figured it had to be on one of our lists. I let you do the dirty work and take up a spot for it. But yeah, I mean, it's when people say rom-com, they think When Harry Met Sally.
I think it's a good benchmark it's like a good film to benchmark all other rom-coms by. Like if you go and watch that first, then everything else that you watch can be like, maybe it's a little funny and maybe more romance, maybe there's more sadness, more emotion, but it has a really good mix of everything, I think.
Have you watched it recently? Have you rewatched it in the last like 5 years?
Yeah. I'm not. I think like 2 or 3 years ago, I probably watched it again. Yeah.
How did it hold up?
I thought it held up really well. There's a lot in it that I didn't understand. I think when I first watched it, I was probably maybe 22, 23.
Yeah.
I don't think I watched it again until I was about 30, 31. And because it shows them through their life, I identified with and found funny and sort of enjoyed bits of it a lot more this time that I didn't enjoy the first time as much. I didn't empathize with.
That's beautiful, honestly. Like I really want to go back and rewatch it now. It's been on my list of like, I need to go rewatch When Harry Met Sally. Like I'm a self-proclaimed rom-com lover and I haven't watched it in 15 years. So I need to go back and rewatch it.
It's great. I love it. I think they do a great job.
Cool. Okay.
What's your number 5?
Number 5 for me, and I just finished reading the second book in this trilogy. Found it at the library and was like, I've never read the books. And so I'll go read the book. Crazy Rich Asians.
Okay. I didn't realize that was a book.
Yeah, it started as a book. So it's a 3-part trilogy. I believe the first book is like pretty true to the movie. I think I imagine there's a couple things they changed based on reading the second book. I still haven't read the first one. But like context clues and all. I love this movie. I think it's hilarious. I think it's romantic. I think it's just really fun and indulgent. I think it was like part of the like change in like one of the movies that I associate with the change in Hollywood of like we need more representation from other cultures, and I feel like it was like one of the like really big hits that like proved to Hollywood, representation can be really profitable too, and like there are a ton of great stories out there that we haven't told that we should tell. And so I sort of associate it with that. Maybe that's giving it too much credit. I'm not sure, but I love this movie.
Yeah, I liked it. I actually, funnily enough, I watched it recently. I've watched it twice, and the first time I was falling asleep on a plane, and the second time I couldn't fall asleep on a plane, which is why I watched it this time, and it was good. I did enjoy it. I didn't find it didn't feel a lot like a rom-com to me. I know it is weirdly, like it is very funny and the characters are great and I enjoyed it. I didn't get much romance running through it somehow.
Sure. I do think
it didn't feel about like it didn't feel about the romance. It felt like much more about like the relationships that they had with other people rather than with each other. Like it wasn't really, there doesn't seem to be any point where they were like, will they, won't they? Oh, sorry, there is will they, won't they? But it's not about whether they want to. It's more about like
all of
family
the external factors. Yeah. So I think one, you may find that this is a trend. I like rom-coms that stray outside, like play with the definition of what is a rom-com, that don't fall into all of the classic tropes, but like, play with the tropes a little bit. So I think that's part of it. I think that's fair. I think a lot of the story is about her and like focuses on her and like her having to overcome these like notions about her because of her family's background and like having to navigate this like mega rich society, and a lot of it is also just like fun gawking at like ultra rich lifestyles too. Yeah. Like that is
it's basically it's just like a retelling of the story of like it's almost Cinderella almost. It's like someone who's not rich finds themselves in a world they don't belong in. Like it's all in Singapore, so it's Singapore, right? So it's different. It's I guess it's a very well trodden ground.
Yeah. I
nice.
I love it. So cool.
Nice. Cool. Well, let's go number 4.
Yeah. What's number 4 for you?
Number 4, and I don't know how this made it only to number 4.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking at the others, and I don't know necessarily what I would move down for it.
Okay.
I'll be interested to see if you have this on your list. One of my favorite movies of all time.
Okay.
500 Days of Summer.
It was another one that just missed the list for me. I mean, I feel like this is it's very high school to me. Like it was like I remember the classic Manic Pixie Dream Girl movie of all Manic Pixie Dream Girl movies.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like a personal development thing. Like I think people should go back and watch this every few years and just see how their mindset and like how their attitude changes to certain like people and like situations in it. Like,
okay,
I think it's an interesting one to see like as you grow up from being a teenager to like an adult, like how your perspective changes on it. But I still think it's just a great movie. Like it's incredibly funny in bits, and it's very biting and very sad in parts.
And I remember
it has a really good mix of both.
I remember it being unafraid to be sad, like it being kind of heavy on the sadness, which I liked. I like a rom-com that isn't afraid to be like truly sad. It's not just like that little bit of like, oh no, they broke up, but like really plays with like some sadness. I like that.
And I quite like that it's quite ambiguous. Like it leaves it up to the audience to sort of decide, is anyone the goodie, is anyone the baddie? Is it sort of a mix of both? Like you definitely came out of that movie, I think, and you talk to people and they will have very different opinions of like what they just saw and how they feel about it.
Yeah.
Which I like.
I'm gonna add that one to the rewatch list as well, because I haven't seen it since like it was.
And great music. That's
popular.
a big thing for me. Absolutely amazing music.
Nice. Love it. All right, cool. Number 4 for me, a more recent movie. And again, this one is on there. One, I have realized I have a little bit of a soft spot for this niche. And then 2, it's just one that made me cackle, like laugh so loudly the first time I watched it, like could not stop laughing. And that is Palm Springs.
Oh dear. Okay.
Did Palm Springs make your list as well?
It may have been my number 2.
Man, I'm sorry. It's
okay. It's okay. It was gonna happen.
All right, tell me why you love Palm Springs.
I am a sucker for what's her name? Is it Alyssa?
The actress, the main
the actress,
main character, yeah.
I think she's just amazing. Anything she's in, she was amazing as the mother in How I Met Your Mother. She's been in a lot of other stuff.
Right. That is her.
I think she's absolutely amazing. I like Andy Samberg. A lot of people don't like him. I do. Even
I think
when
he's
being
hilarious.
silly.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of my all-time favorite TV shows.
Yeah. So I like that. I liked how it hit all of the. It's very rare that you can do something that's completely weird and crazy and kind of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to do that and be funny, but it's really hard to do that, be funny, and also be like somehow quite sad and very emotional. Which I thought the film, like the movie, is very moving, despite being very funny and very like kind of in the same way as like Zombieland has like that action. Right?
Yeah.
Like it has stuff going on. It's very weird and quirky, but in a good way, not in like a trying too hard way. Like it makes sense for the story. Like you don't care that a lot of it is obviously impossible or like unrealistic, because you can port it into the story, I think.
And you just love the characters. You get so obsessed with the characters. And this came out during the pandemic, I think, and it was just like I laughed so hard, and it just was so funny to me. And all the things that you said, I think I have a soft spot for time travel. I've realized I find time travel stories kind of interesting, and the stories and lessons you draw from them, really, I think they're a fun mechanic for like, thinking critically about life and what's important, which is cool. But I just loved that this was like, kind of exactly like you said, it was so funny, and it so easily could have slipped into being like crass or like corny or just like, but it was laugh out loud funny and sentimental and like meaningful. And I feel like Zombieland is funny and has action, but is like a step below in terms of like sentimentality and like meaning and everything. It's they try to do it a little bit, it's there, but it's more of just a fun kind of thing. And this one grabs you.
I'm definitely considering that like it has a lot of twists and there's a lot of shock factor, but you could still go back and watch it multiple times. Is like 100%. A real testament to it. Like it's not one of those ones that you only watch one and then go, okay, that was an amazing experience, but I don't want to repeat it. It's like you can keep going back to it. I
will say, I think it benefits from a little bit of time between rewatches because of some of those twists and everything. Like I think I rewatched it like 2 weeks later and I enjoyed it. I appreciated it, but then I rewatched it again a couple of years later and I was right back to the first time I watched it. And I was like, I love this so much. So I think it benefits from a little bit of time, but it's still, I totally agree. It's very rewatchable. Yeah.
Nice. Should we go to, well, that was my 2, so I only have 2 left. I'm gonna replace my 2 then with something else.
Do it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so, love that. We'll caveat it with like, it may not have been your true number 2. It may not be worthy of the number 2 spot, but we'll use it as a chance to talk about another movie.
Okay, let's go number 3 then. My number 3 is probably the most, I would say maybe the most like classically rom-com-y on the list.
Okay, love it.
I think it's the only one from the, oh no, 500 Days of Summer is from the 2000s, but so it's Finding Sarah Marshall.
Ah, so good. Yeah, damn. I can't believe that didn't make my honorable mentions. Yeah, I love Jason Segel. I fucking love Jason Segel. Yeah, tell me why you love this movie.
I don't know. I think it has everything. It has like, I like Jason Segel. I like Mia Kunis. I like what's her name who plays the ex-girlfriend. She's also in The Good Place.
Yes. Fuck.
She's the voice of Gossip Girl.
She's married to Dax Shepard. Bell, Kristen Bell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think they all do a great job. I like that it lets Jason Segel be a little bit weird with his like his singing and everything, which is amazing. And it's also like, it's very, very, very funny.
Yeah.
And it's like genuinely like emotional, right? Like it tugs at the heartstrings, which I think is great. Like it's a very good movie to watch when you're like, if you go through a breakup or if you're just feeling sad. Like it's a very good sort of, he starts like, it's very, I think it's quite unusual for like most rom-coms are like sad to happy to sad to happy again.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like the build up, and this one is very unusual in that it's like the whole of the first like 60% of the movie is just pure like unhappiness, and then it becomes more of like a happiness thing.
I think this is also nice. I feel like most rom-coms, not all, but most rom-coms, it's like there is one, I'm going to use heteronormative, rom-coms, which is like so there's usually like one guy who falls in love with one girl, and that's kind of it. And I think the nice thing about this is like you see him be hung up and in love with his ex, and then he like falls in love with this new person, and that is like so emblematic of real life when you're like getting over a relationship and you're hung up on someone, and often you need to see that there's something better before you can truly move on. And I also just think this is like one of the few like blockbuster type, like classic blockbuster rom-coms, like in that I put this in the like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days category, that is just like, it's still very much that, but just that on a different level.
Yeah, it's just like a really well done, fun rom-com experience, I think.
Yeah. All right, my number 3, I will be shocked if you have this one on your list, and this one is like barely a rom-com. If you are someone who like subscribes to like a rom-com has to have a happily ever after, like does this? It's not clear. It's also like not even necessarily romantic in like, it's not necessarily about romantic love. It's about all sorts of love. Have you ever seen The Half of It?
The half of it?
The Half of It.
I don't know. That rings a bell. I'm gonna have to Google it real quick.
Yeah, so this movie was on Netflix. I don't know if it ever came out in theaters. I saw it on Netflix. It's about a young girl living with her dad, and they like, her dad is like a train operator, or like a train station operator in like a small town in Canada. And he is deeply depressed from the death of her mother. And the whole, like, the movie is about like, she's in love with this girl at their school, the like popular it girl in their school. And this like kind of jock guy comes to her and pays her to help him write love letters to the girl that she's in love with. And then slowly over the course of the movie, she becomes friends with him. And so it's as much about like the love triangle between the three of them, and the like friendship love that forms between the two of them, and then like the love between her and her dad, and like the mourning of their mother. So it's very much not a classic rom-com. Like, you could make a compelling argument to me that it's not a rom-com, but to me it has moments of romance and comedy and sadness, and like that's what I really look for in a rom-com. It's definitely not as funny. It's not as high on the comedy. as it is on the romance and sadness. So it's like it's stretching the definition for sure. But I just love this movie. I think it's really, really well done, and just like a very interesting, different look on the genre.
Nice. Well, I have not watched it. I think I've scrolled sort of along it
Yeah.
in Netflix. Like it seemed what's the word? I've definitely come across it before,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't watched it, so that's gonna have to go on my list. I have one finally to a
Sweet.
new. It's been a while since I've had a new one to look at, so this
Took me a while to get
exciting.
one that you hadn't heard of, but we got there. We got there.
We got there.
Yeah.
Cool. So my second was Palm Springs, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna replace it. And I'm really struggling with what to go for. I have like 4 or 5 still that I didn't mention that could have been one of them. And I think I'm gonna go with one that's maybe slightly more obscure, which is called What If, with Daniel Radcliffe.
Yes, I love this movie. Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I think you might actually have recommended this to me.
Oh,
it is possible.
I would be so honored if I did. I have a total soft spot for this actress. What is her name? What is her name? Let me find it. We're getting there. Zoe Kazan. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I know what she looks like, but I did not know her name.
She has a very like distinctive look, I think. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tell me why you love this movie.
I don't really have a reason. It's just a great movie. I like it. It's funny. It's sad. Does what a rom-com is supposed to do. There's romance. It's like it's a lot of those. It's one of those sort of like it's more of like an indie sort of quirky. Without going too far, right? It's not like a Michael Cera kind of thing where it's all like too hipster and too far. It's just like, what if two very normal people, basically, and like they both play two very normal people, and I like it for that. It's like it feels kind of mundane, like it feels like you're watching a real story rather than like a Hollywood story almost, which I like.
Love it. This is so funny. My second movie feels very similar vibes,
Okay.
and I realized that's partially because it has the same leading actress. I didn't remember that until you mentioned this, and I looked up her IMDb, and then I was like, oh fuck, duh, she's in my number 2. That's part of why I love her. My number 2 is The Big Sick.
Very good. That, of course, I was literally so I was going for my fake number 2 just then. I was going between 3. I was going between The Big Sick, What If, and an absolute classic, which is The Proposal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is it's a crime that Ryan Reynolds has not made this list. But yeah, that was gonna be my other like potential one that's like a classic that holds up. Yeah, that's funny that The Big Sick. Yeah, definitely. I love that movie. I've seen it twice. What put it the second spot for you?
I love Kumail Nanjiani. Side note, love that he got ripped and was in a Marvel movie and like had a viral moment for his abs as like a person who came up playing a nerd, and like I associated him with Silicon Valley before that and like nerd culture, and so I just like loved that he had this viral moment as a hottie. But I think The Big Sick is another one of these that's like it's such a real life story, and I mean it is literally based on his life. Like he wrote it with his wife about their love story, which is also just incredible and cool. It's so real. It is so sad. It's funny. Their chemistry is off the charts. I love the mom and dad. Like I don't love Ray Romano that much, but I fucking love Ray Romano in this movie. And like I love the like sort of sub story that you get with the mom and dad like struggling with love in their own way, and like I think this is one that like really gets you in the feels, and just feels, again, it felt like an interesting story that hadn't been told before. It didn't feel like just a trope, a bundle of tropes, like with a slightly new setting. And so I love this movie.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's a weird one in that it's one of, I guess, relatively few rom-coms where one of the two has very little screen time or like actual like acting
Yeah,
screen time.
I hadn't thought about that, but you're totally right. Yeah, because she's sick for
I
most
guess
of the
kind
movie.
of. It's similar to the other one that you like. I think you had. Do you have it at number 5? The what's it called? The wedding one in Singapore.
Crazy
Crazy
Rich
Rich
Asians.
Asians.
Yeah, yeah,
You also don't see a lot of the guy. That's basically all the woman.
yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, yeah. That is rare,
Nice.
but they pull it off. You still
They
like
do.
love them and are rooting for them.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I loved it. There are some like very good like. It's not. It's kind of darkly funny, and it's not
yeah,
slapstick humor so much. But there are just some very very like laugh out loud awkward funny moments in that I remember like snorting and going like, yeah, this actually makes me laugh out loud.
absolutely. I love it. All right,
Yeah.
drum
Cool.
roll. I don't know if that's
Okay,
going through
so
on the mic, but
so I'm going to give you a cheat answer, and I'm going to
okay,
give you the real answer.
okay.
So if we're allowed to stretch the definition of a rom-com.
Obviously, like I'm doing that very much. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I haven't been doing that so much. So I'm gonna stretch it just once and say I don't think that this is a rom-com.
Okay.
I would not classify it as a rom-com. But it's maybe my favorite movie of all time. And there is like it's funny and there is like a romantic thread that runs through it. So I'm gonna allow it to squeeze in as like my honorary like fake number 1 spot.
Okay.
The movie In Bruges.
The movie In Bruges. Damn,
In
another
Bruges.
one.
Have you seen that?
Oh, In Bruges. In Bruges. Sorry.
Yeah, In Bruges.
No, I have not seen In Bruges. Oh,
That
interesting.
is just an absolutely amazing movie.
Is it like an action-y kind of movie a little bit?
It is, and it's funny, and it has an amazing cast. It has one of my favorite actresses of all time in it, and it has Colin Farrell. It has is it Domino? Is it Domino Gleeson or Brendan Gleeson? One of the two. I
Brendan
can't remember.
Gleeson. Yeah.
Brendan Gleeson. Yeah.
Yeah. Clemence Posey, is that your
Yes.
actress
Yeah.
that you love?
She's absolutely amazing, and they have there's like it's very fun. It's a comedy movie as well, a comedy action, but they have like they go on a date. And there's like a recurring thing through it with them, and it's not a big part of the movie. It's maybe like 10% of the movie, but it's very very good. I think it's just enough to tip it over into like potential consideration. So I'm gonna put that in there.
Love it.
But then my real number 1 is just, I think, just for an all-round mix of like what you want from a rom-com, no matter what mood you're in, you just want to watch a really good rom-com.
Yeah.
My number 1 is Love and Other Drugs.
Ah, so good. Yeah, totally agree. That is a rom-com through and through, and it is dark and funny and really good. Yeah.
It doesn't like stand out in any one particular way, but it's just a really well done thing. I think it has everything you want. It has like Hollywood flash and ridiculousness. It has comedy. It has emotions. It has romance. It has stakes. It has everything.
Yeah. To me, that movie feels very much like The Proposal. Like they feel like a similar vibe. I don't know why, but they just I kind of group those together in my head.
Yeah, it's a similar age. I think The Proposal doesn't quite have the. I mean, it's ridiculous to say the word gravitas, but like it doesn't quite reach the same like emotional level as
100%. It's a little.
But I think
more
that's partly because of the
slapstick.
Like
funny
Ryan Reynolds
kind of,
just can't be serious.
Yeah,
and,
so true. Yeah. Absolutely. Cool. Yeah, I love Love and Other Drugs. I think it's great. I think that's a fantastic pick.
Nice. Well, hit me with the final number 1.
Okay. You have probably seen me talk about this movie enough that I almost wonder if you could guess what it is.
Okay. I genuinely can't.
Okay.
I feel like I've thought of so many rom-coms right now that I don't know. No, I don't know.
This is the rom-com that I recommend everyone watch. Anytime like it comes up on Twitter, I'm like, have you watched this one? It's also time travel.
Oh, okay. No, I know exactly what it's going to be. Yeah,
Yep, yep.
it just didn't make it into. Actually, I left it off my list. I have it. It's in the. If you looked at my screenshot, it's in the number 6 spot.
Uh-huh.
But I left it off because I did think that was the one. That was the one where I was like, I'm sure it's going to be in your top 5. So I'm not gonna mention
You got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes. Okay.
You nailed it. You know me well. Yeah, this is my favorite movie of all time. Just hands down favorite movie. It is so the movie is about time. It's a British time travel rom-com. Again, it stretches the definition just a tiny bit, in that it's not purely about like man chases woman. It is about the love between like a father and a son, a man and a woman, like their kids, and like it's all of these relationships, kind of the brother and sister. It's all of these relationships. They all kind of have almost an equal amount of importance. It's funny in a very quirky and offbeat way. It has that poignancy. It makes me like want to be more mindful and appreciate life more. And for that reason, I try to rewatch it like almost once a year, and I have not gotten tired of it yet. I just rewatched this with my girlfriend a couple weeks ago, and I loved it so much. It just like it's very like wholesome's not quite the word I'm looking for. Earnest. It's very earnest, which is yeah. I love it so much.
I do love that movie. I've watched it a couple of times. Always happy to watch it again. I love Bill Nye in it, who plays the dad.
Yeah, he's great.
He, I think, steals the show for me. I also love. It's funny how that's Rachel. What's her name?
Yeah,
Rachel McAdams. Yeah,
yeah.
Which is weird because I guess she comes up in like a lot of like The Notebook, which isn't really a rom-com. It's more of just like a romance. Like I didn't think of like The Notebook or stuff like that.
Yeah,
to put that in, but
yeah. To me, that's more romance. There's not enough comedy there.
Yeah, exactly.
She's also in. Isn't she in Mean Girls? I think. Am I mixing that up?
I don't think I've ever seen. Oh no, of course I've seen Mean Girls. Is she in Mean Girls?
Isn't she the? Yeah. She's the like main. Yeah. The main mean girl.
Oh, of course, yeah. She was very different. Yeah, she's
very different. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. The one thing that holds it back for me, weirdly enough, is coming from having grown up in the UK with family from the UK. I really struggle to watch, I think, British rom-coms. Like there's some sort of like disconnect of like a rom-com should have American accents and sort of like American optimism and showing of emotions.
Yeah.
In a way that when a British person does it, to me seems disingenuous, almost as like we wouldn't talk like that or like act this way.
Did you feel that's funny? Because I almost feel like their portrayal of like British families is like you don't express love too much. Like you're like the father is like reluctant to like hug his son or say
definitely like that is all very British, but it feels to me just in some very subtle ways it's only a very small criticism. Like I've watched the movie multiple times. I enjoy it. It's just somehow you can tell it's not a British movie for British people. Because if it were made with British people in mind, there would be a lot more self-deprecation. There would be a lot like it would be grainy and less optimistic and less wishy-washy in some ways. Like the character of the sister, I think, would play very differently.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie, but I think when I watch something that's set in the US, I can allow myself that level of like abstraction from reality because that's not necessarily my everyday.
Yeah.
Whereas when I watch that in the UK, I'm like, okay, like I identify with some of these places and what they're doing.
Yeah.
But this is very clearly has been made with a different audience in mind somehow.
Makes total sense. And I mean, like For Weddings and a Funeral was also on my list. Like Notting Hill was one that I didn't mention that was like on my honorable mentions list, and like
See, 4 Weddings and a Funeral is more for British people.
I
If you
figured.
watch that and you watch how like grey and dreary and like
Yeah. I was gonna ask actually
yeah.
you to compare the two, like ask if 4 Weddings and a Funeral was more of that classic British.
Yes, there is a lot more stuff that goes unsaid, whereas Notting Hill is almost more of like an American laughing at
Totally.
how repressed the British guy is, and Hugh Grant playing there.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's a good movie. Like I like them both, but it's slightly less. It's less. It's more difficult for me to relate to somehow.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Yeah, totally. And then I'm over here, the sucker who's like, man, and a British accent just makes everything feel more romantic. So
definitely not to me.
Makes you a good co-host.
So we should wrap this. Let's do one. Do you have any one last sort of like final one we didn't mention that you think like should have been in there?
So,
or alternatively, if you have one,
the like 2 that I was shocked neither of us mentioned are both like kind of holiday movies to me. Love Actually and Crazy Stupid Love. Crazy Stupid Love, less of a holiday movie. Love Actually, more solidly holiday. I thought for sure Love Actually was going to be on your list. But
okay. Yeah. So I like Love Actually as a holiday movie. I don't think of it as a romance movie at all.
Interesting.
I don't like it for that.
It's also another Hugh Grant, another British set in the UK. I'm realizing. So
we watch it more as like a holiday sort of like family movie. Like it is about love, but it feels very like aromantic somehow.
I love it.
I think because of the context.
I love it in part because to me it is a romantic comedy, and I'm not big on holiday movies. I don't love Christmas movies the way some people do, and so it's like the one I can get people to watch at Christmas that I'm going to enjoy more. I think that's like kind of the niche it fills for me.
Yeah, and you said you had a second one.
Crazy Stupid Love. Yeah.
Oh, Crazy. I see. That's where we're gonna have our falling out on Crazy Stupid Love. For me, Crazy Stupid Love is a terrible movie with 15 minutes of brilliance. I think, like the whole storyline of the little kid, the son. It's just creepy. I don't get it. I don't like it.
I will say, I think I rewatched this one recently and was like, I was cringing more than I remembered. I was like, don't love that. Yeah.
There are bits that are amazing, like the fight in the garden is like one of the funniest.
The reveal of like the boyfriend and everything, and then like him turning out not to be like a creepy womanizer so much, but like genuinely caring for the daughter and everything. Like were the redeeming parts, but the more we talk about it, the more I'm glad I left it off.
But then there are very funny bits like where he takes him out shopping and when they're in the gym together and stuff. Like it has moments of like you can totally watch it through and enjoy it, but the rewatch doesn't happen for me because I'm going to find myself skipping through bits of it. Like I will skip through everything with the kid where he's following around that girl and like there's some weird bits in that I don't love.
There for sure are. It's of an era. It doesn't hold up as well as others do. So yeah,
but bits of it do. Like if I'm scrolling through and watching just bits, it's kind of like how if I watch Lord of the Rings, I don't watch any of the bits where like Frodo's wandering off. I'm like, I get it. I've seen it. I know it's happened. I don't need to like watch it happen now.
Any the last ones that you want to slide in?
If I'm looking in on my list now, I think we got to most that I had on this. I mean, there's loads of others, but I think we got to most on the list. The one that I'm seeing sticking out here is a relatively new one with Glenn Powell. So he was in 2 movies. There's one with Sydney Sweeney that was like a romance. I can't remember the name of it now.
Yeah. I hated that movie. The one with Sydney Sweeney.
I thought it was okay. It was for me. It was just like it was of the same vein as Wedding Crashers. Like I give it that amount of respect. It has some funny moments. It's
the
very
dialogue
formulaic.
was just too forced and awkward to me. Like it just felt too stilted. I couldn't do it. It made me cringe.
I don't believe any of it.
No,
I don't believe any of it. But like you can watch it once and it's fine, and you cringe at bits of it. But that's
I actually
that's fine,
didn't finish that one. I like turned it off halfway through. I was like, can't do it. Yeah,
I watched it in the background because I knew. Like you didn't have to watch it to know what was going to happen. Like I could have watched the first 5 minutes and know what was going to happen.
Was that wasn't actually the one you were going to mention though? Was it? Like
no. The one I was going to mention was called Hitman, which is I think more recent. And that one is they have a lot more connection in that movie, and I think it's actually really good.
That's been
It's
on my list.
Didn't make my top list, but it was pretty good.
That's been on my list. It was one that I scrolled across one day, and I was like, I somehow missed it when it came out, and I was like, oh, this looks funny. I wanna watch this. So
I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed it. He did a really good job in that movie. I thought they both did a really good job.
Cool.
And then I'll end it with just the one that I'm surprised that neither of us brought up.
Yeah.
Or the two that I'm surprised that I thought we would say at least one of them, which is, do you remember in like 2011 there were two movies that came out at basically the same time about like friends with benefits, and I think one of them's called Friends with Benefits, and the other one's called
the one with Mila Kunis and
there's Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake.
Oh, Justin Timberlake.
It's Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake, and Ashton Kutcher is with Natalie Portman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think both of those are like kind of one watchers for me. Like, I don't feel a need to rewatch them. They're funny. I enjoyed them the first time. I don't know how well they hold up. I haven't tried to rewatch them, so I'm not sure. But yeah, they don't. To me, they're in a different tier from everything we talked about today.
No, I gotta say, that was my impression of them. Like in remembering them, I watched the Ashton Kutcher one more recently, and that one I was surprised by. Like, I was like, damn, this is actually pretty good. Like,
okay.
I don't remember it being that way. I think I remember the Justin Timberlake one, like for both of them, which was very much, like just bland, exactly what you would expect from it. But yeah, it was on a second watch, it was pretty good. I didn't hate it.
Cool. I'll have to give it another try. Nice. I've got a long list, so this is great. I'm stoked. We've also gone on for an hour and 45 minutes. So
let's hope no one was recording this.
Awesome, man. I so appreciate you doing this. I genuinely think it would be so much fun to just do this on the reg and just watch a movie and talk about it. It would be so much fun. But
definitely, that would be fun. We should have a community for that. And I'm glad that Sean didn't have to suffer through this. I would love to spend some time and talk to him, but I think he made a very wise decision not to be able to show up today, because that would have been tough.
I'm gonna have to ask him what his list was, and I'll send it along to you so you can
combat
see
notes.
Cool, awesome, man.
Cool,
appreciate you.
Good catch up, man.
This is great.
Bye.